You're right.
Today is the 10th birthday of the Greensboro Children's Museum, so we've been celebrating all day, and today is part of the festivities. We're having Ron Jones, a storyteller, here, so we're so excited about that. One of the things we do here at the Children's Museum is that we firmly believe, and we know through research, that children learn through play, and we definitely consider storytelling a fun part of play.
Well, I want to tell you how thrilled we are to have you here today for this very special storytelling program at the Greensboro Children's Museum. And we thank you for coming, and I know you're going to have a great time because this is one wonderful storyteller. His name is Ron Jones, and in some of his stories he may tell you about how he was as a child, he grew up on a dairy farm and all the things he learned about being a dairy farmer from his parents and his grandparents. And then he went on to do lots and lots of other things, especially to do with children and stories. And so, can we give a big hand to welcome Ron Jones?
Thank you, Charlotte. Hey guys, come on in, we got plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
I tell you what we're going to do first, before we get to the stories, we're going to sing happy birthday. Who has a birthday today?
I'm so sorry, I had my birthday.
You have a birthday? The museum has a birthday today. Today is a museum. How old is the museum today? 10. 10 years old. So let's start off with happy birthday for the museum. We ready? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Children's Museum. Greensboro North Children's Museum. Happy birthday to you. Very good. We got good singers. That lets me know you guys are good singers. Well, since the museum has a birthday, I'm going to start off with a story about a birthday. For my 6th birthday, my grandmother gave me a puppy. I named him Ollie, and I told my grandma, Grandma, Ollie's going to grow up to be the most famous dog in the whole world. And my grandma said, well, that's good, but if he's going to grow up to be famous, he's going to have to be a pretty special dog. He's going to have to know how to do tricks. I'll teach Ollie to fetch the newspaper. So I went downstairs and I stood on the porch and said, Ollie, come! He came running down the steps, ran right to me. Ollie, sit. And he sat right there on the porch. I said, now watch, Ollie. I'm going to teach you how to fetch the newspaper. I took the newspaper, I rolled it up real tight, I threw it way out the end of the driveway. I said, watch, Ollie. I ran out the end of the driveway, I picked the newspaper up, I put it in my mouth, I ran back and I dropped it on the porch. He watched me do it. He watched me run out there, pick up the paper, bring it back, drop it on the porch. So I did it again. I threw it out there. I said, watch, Ollie, I'm going to fetch the paper. I ran out there, picked up the newspaper in my mouth, came back, dropped it on the porch. And he watched me do it again. Run all the way out there, pick up the paper, bring it back, drop it on the porch. After about 4 or 5 times, I was exhausted. But I said, okay, Ollie, it's your turn. So I rolled up the newspaper really tight. I threw it all the way out in the driveway. I said, okay, Ollie, go get the newspaper. You should have seen it. Ollie took off that front porch. Boom, 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 boom. He ran out the end of the driveway. Boom, boom, boom. He picked up the newspaper in his mouth. He ran back to the house. Boom, boom, boom. He ran in the front yard and tore the newspaper into 100 pieces. I told my grandma that's what she did. She just laughed and said, oh, he's just being a dog. So I got dressed, finished dress, had breakfast, caught the bus, went to school. All day at school, all I could think about, what can I teach Ollie to do so that they would maybe put him in the newspaper, make him famous? All day, I couldn't think of anything. On the way home, I was about halfway home from school on the school bus. I had the perfect idea. You see, every day when I got home from school, the first thing I was supposed to do was go inside and put on my play clothes. The next thing I was supposed to do was go downstairs, open the pantry door in the kitchen, push the garbage down in the garbage bag, pull it out, tie a big knot in it, drag it out through the kitchen, out the door, and throw it in the garbage bin out by the barn. I hated doing that too. But I thought, I'll teach Ollie to take out the trash. I figured if I had a dog that could take out the trash, they'd put him on the 5 o'clock news at least. So I went downstairs, I said, Ollie, come. And he came running down the steps. I said, Ollie, sit. And he sat right there. I said, okay, Ollie, watch. I'm going to teach you how to take out the trash. I went over and I opened the pantry door. I pulled the big garbage can out. I pushed the garbage all down in the bag. I tied a big knot in it and I grabbed the bag. I pulled it out of the garbage can. I drug it through the kitchen, out the door, down the steps, and I threw it in the bin out by the barn. I did it 5 times. I was exhausted. But Ollie watched me do it. He watched me take the garbage bag, pull it out of the can, drag it through the kitchen, out the door, down the steps, and throw it in the bag. After 5 times, I said, okay, Ollie, it's your turn. Take out the trash. You are not going to believe it. He did it. Ollie came in the kitchen, he grabbed that garbage bag, he pulled it out of the garbage can, he pulled it to the kitchen, he pulled it back to the kitchen, he pulled it into the living room, and he threw garbage all over the living room.
That was fun.
And I told my grandma, and she laughed just like you and said, he's just being a dog. So that night I went to bed, and as I was lying there in bed with my hand holding over the side, Ollie came by and he licked my hand 2 or 3 times. And then he went over to his rug in the corner and he walked around 3 or 4 times and plopped down on the floor. The next morning I woke up and I thought, there's got to be something I could teach Ollie to do. I had the perfect idea. Because the next day was Saturday, no school. But every Saturday morning, my job after breakfast, I was to go downstairs, open the pantry again in the kitchen, take out the dust mop, go into the living room, and push the dust mop all under the sofa and under the end table and under the coffee tables. Get those little dust balls that float around under there. I hated doing that too. But by now, Ollie was about this big, this tall, and he had long, shaggy hair. Everybody always said he looked just like a dust mop. So I said, I'll teach Ollie to dust the floor. So I went in the living room. I said, Ollie, come here. Come here. He came running in. I said, Ollie, sit. And he sat. I said, okay, Ollie, I'm going to show you how to dust the floor. I plopped down on the floor. I took one arm and I swung it all the way under the sofa and I brought it out and my sleeve was covered with dust. I took my other arm, I swung it under the coffee table, I brought it out. My sleeve was covered with dust. I took one leg, I swung it under the end table, I brought it out. My jeans were covered with dust. And Ollie sat there watching me, turning his head like this, turning his head like that. I said, okay, Ollie, that's how you dust the floor. Now you do it. Okay, Ollie, dust the floor. You should have seen him. He took one long shaggy paw, he swung it under the coffee table, he brought it out, it was covered with dust. He took another long paw, he brought it under the other end of the table, he came out, it was covered with dust. He took his long shaggy tail, he was swinging it under the sofa, and all of a sudden I looked down and he went. He fell asleep right there on the floor. So I told my grandma and she laughed, because she said, he's just being a dog. So that night I went to bed. And Ollie walked by and he licked my hand and he went over to his rug and he walked around 3 or 4 times and plopped down and soon he was sound asleep. And the next morning I woke up and the sun was shining in the window there on Ollie and he looked so cute curled up on that rug. But he got up and moved to the corner where it wasn't sunshine because with all that shaggy hair it was too hot for him. And I lay there in bed looking at him and I thought, well, he doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to be in the newspaper. He doesn't want to be in television. Like Grandma says, he just wants to be a dog. So I wrote him a song, and it's called I'd Rather Be a Dog. And it goes like this. I'd rather be a dog, lay around like a log and sleep all day long. I find a shady patch where I can scratch and do nothing all day but I'd rather be a dog, not a lizard or a frog or an orangutan in the zoo. I got a doggy bone and a happy home and lots of time to spend with you. Well, you can call me Rover, you can call me Spot, find a lassie or Rin Tin Tin. But I'm a dog at heart, so don't you even start to try to change me, cause you'll never win. I'd rather be a dog, lay around like a log and sleep all day long. Find a shady patch where I can scratch and do nothing all day but